Well, good afternoon and welcome everyone. This is our April monthly virtual recording recruiting call for the Department of Revenue. My name is Julie Love and I am a solo team now in recruiting. If you've been on before, my former co-partner Johnny Rodriguez accepted a promotion and moved on to another state agency. So I'm down to a team of one, but I do have two coworkers on here with me, and they are going to help with questions and answers. And then we also have a guest speaker for this month's session, Danette Williams from our audit area. So without further ado, we're going to get started. I have a couple of housekeeping announcements or reminders. As I've been telling everyone as you've jumped on the call, we have over 979 people who registered for this event. I don't know if they will all be able to join us, but I know we will have a lot of people on the call. We have muted everyone for that reason so that we can keep to the 1 hour time limit. If you have questions, please put those in the chat box and we will try and answer those as we go and then have time at the end for questions as well. Our session today is being recorded, and as I said, we record these each month and then put them on our webpage. The caveat to that is last month's call. So if you were on here, you will know that I was also by myself last month, and I indicated that we would put the call out there and I would also follow up with everyone, and I did not. The reason is because we had some technical issues with the recording. Johnny set it up in his old IDOR email account and then got promoted and left. And in that transition, we couldn't capture the WebEx to post it. So I didn't have access to everyone's email address to send you a follow-up email. We are hopeful, fingers crossed, that this month we won't have any issues. We send out just a general, real short, couple paragraph email after the event to remind you of where to go and do things. And so I will send that out after this one. A couple of other things I want to follow up on. As I said before, put any areas you would like for us to cover in the chat box, and we'll try and get those on the agenda for the rest of the year. And finally, for many of you that registered for today's event, I just want to clarify that when you signed up, again, we have a template that we use. Johnny set it up for us. And in that transition from him to me, it kind of got a little wonky. There was a question on there about your race. We also ask about your age and your background, education. All of that is just for data for me, so that I can try and track to make sure that we are including everyone across the state of Illinois in our phone calls. We don't do anything with the data other than just have it available. What happened for this month's call was that some of the options for the race category got chopped off. So there were only like 3 categories listed, and I apologize for that error. Once it went out and the call was set up, we already had people register, so I couldn't go back and change that. So I do apologize. We'll work on that for next month. And again, your data is not being sold to anyone. It's just for us for statistical purposes. So with that in mind, let's jump into today's call, which is all about audit. I'm going to go rather quickly, so buckle up, and I'll try and explain the best I can as we go through on some of these slides, but what I really want to try to do is get done so that we can turn things over to our guest speaker. We should have a disclaimer on here. Basically says this PowerPoint is for general information purposes. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a tax person. I'm not here to give you advice, prescribe, treat, anything like that. So this is just for informational purposes only. And sadly, I have to do this, participant guidelines. So we want you to ask questions that are pertinent to our topic today. We want to be respectful and kind to our guest speaker and our other guests who are joined us. So please be considerate. Please do not demean or try to sell or solicit or anything like that. If you do, you will be removed from the webinar. So thank you for your kindness and your participation. So let's talk briefly about revenue, our mission. We've been around since 1927. We were legislated back then to process the gasoline tax, and that was the only one tax at that time. And now revenue processes over 80 different taxes. Our director, David Harris, has a budget of over $240 million. And he's the basic of our mission and our vision at IDOR is to process taxes in an efficient manner and to be a resource to our state of Illinois residents to help them with their taxes. Again, we talked a little bit about the history. We have almost 1,400 employees. We process 17 million paper and electronic returns at almost $70 billion in 22. This is our main office in Springfield. We do have other locations, 6 locations across the state. We'll talk about those. This slide, basically, we get a lot of questions on our monthly phone calls about, do we hire, is there an age limit, or are there certain, people that we hire? We hire everyone. We want our team at Revenue to reflect those that pay taxes in Illinois. You think about our state, we are one of the most diverse states in the country. And we want our employees to represent our taxpayers. So we try to hire everyone. It doesn't matter your shape, size, age, color, anything. We want everyone to join us here. The next big question we always get, this will come up in the chat probably 50 times today. So the question is about remote work. We may lose half of our 979 participants right now. It really depends on the position. For the positions that we're going to talk about today, it is the trainee title, the revenue auditor trainee title. Those positions have to be in the office for training and on the job in classroom experience. You have to be in the office for that. That is just the way it is set up. Now, once you get done with your training period, then it depends on the position, on the needs of the particular unit, on your performance. So there's a lot of variables to go into it. Some of our positions here at Revenue are remote. Many that work in the field in audit are remote. It really does just depend. So that's, I would say stay tuned on that area. Again, we have different locations. We have Springfield, Des Plaines, Chicago right downtown, and we have Rockford, Fairview Heights, and Marion, Illinois. Now, I'm not going to read these to you. I'm going to highlight one of them or 2 of them that I think stand out the most, because many times we get the question, why the state of Illinois? The state of Illinois has an excellent benefit package, and 2 of those that stand out on here for me that I think are important are 37.5-hour work week. If there is any one employer that promotes and encourages flexible work-life balance, it is the state of Illinois. You will work 37.5 hours a week, maybe a little bit more, for example, during tax season, or maybe during a busy time, but for the most part, it is pretty much 37.5. And that means you get your weeknights, your weekends, and all the state holidays off to do what you want to do. And we do have a very generous time off package. So between your vacation, personal, holidays, sick time, you do have a lot of time to yourself. The benefits are outstanding. The key on this slide, we offer a lot of different benefits. The biggest are health, vision, and dental, and we offer those day one. There is no waiting period for those. So if you have gone or worked at other places, sometimes you have to wait 6 weeks, 3 months to get your insurance, and that is not the case with the state of Illinois. On this slide, the biggest one right now is that public service loan forgiveness program. That is an area that's getting a lot of attention.
Hey, Julie,
Yes,
are you sharing slides?
I was. Are they not coming through? Is it not coming through?
No, they're not.
Well, okay. Well, let's try this again. It said it was coming through on my side. I apologize. Let's see. Can someone give me hold on a minute. slideshow. Did it come through this time? Can somebody let me know? Yes. Okay. Now I'm going to go quickly because we've been through all of these. You've heard me. There we go. Back one, public service loan forgiveness. Big area right now. If you have student loans, you are familiar with some of the options. We are an employer that participates in this program. So that is a great benefit for working at the state of Illinois. And we at Revenue offer tuition reimbursement. So it is up to $5,000 per year for tuition reimbursement. So let me make sure that these advance okay, since we had issues. Professional development, again, one of the keys at Revenue is the career potential that we have here. I would say probably anywhere from half to 2/3 of our senior leaders. Our leadership team started in our trainee titles that we'll talk about today, and they've been promoted up into supervisors and managers with the agency. So that is one area that we are super proud of at Revenue. There is a great deal of career potential for you at Revenue. And this one is additional voluntary benefits that we offer, the state of Illinois offers. You'll see there's a variety of benefits that you can select. You pay additional out of your pocket for these benefits, but they are available for our state of Illinois employees. A couple of things, benefits or services that the state offers to our residents is the career counseling, and this is the web email address that you can email. And if you email them your resume or set up an appointment with them, they will take a look at your resume and give you feedback on which positions with the state of Illinois that you would be qualified and a good fit for. It's a free service, and I encourage everyone to take advantage of it. By all means. This is what our web page looks like. So once you jump on, you can go to the very first tab that says about IDOR, and then you will, there will be a drop down and it'll say career opportunities, and then you can go to the next slide, which will show you a couple of different things, key things on here. Job postings is very important. We'll talk about that. And then about the third one down, no, actually it'll be under job postings, but there's another one on there that will be sign up for job alerts, the second one. And I highly encourage you, if you have not done that already, to go out there and do that. That will let you know when jobs post. So for example, the job we're talking about today is not posted today. It is supposed to be posted, fingers crossed, on Monday. And if you don't want to wait and you are afraid you'll forget, if you sign up for job alerts, we will send you a quick text or a text or an email to let you know that that job posts. This is an example of what jobs will look like when you get out to the web page or the job landing page. These are not jobs that are there now, just so you know. There are only 2 that are posted right now, an administrative assistant and then I think like a facility manager up in Northern Illinois. So only 2 jobs right now, but there will be more coming, so stay tuned. Details on the job, probably the most critical thing is that on every job in this section that is circled in yellow is a section that says closing date and time. I get a lot of emails from candidates that say, I try to go out and apply for the position and it told me that I couldn't do it, that it was no longer available. Why? Because you waited until after the deadline. So if there is a date and a time, you have to make sure that you get your application submitted before. In this example, it was April 26th of 2024 at 11:59 p.m. So you'll want to make sure that you pay attention closely to that closing date and time. This is job alerts again. You put an email in there and a password in there, and then we will send you just a simple little update to say, hey, jobs have been posted that you are interested in. Now let's get into the meat and potatoes of our session. So we're going to talk a little bit about audit today. We have some positions that are going to be posted on Monday called Revenue Auditor Trainees. These are excellent jobs to get your foot in the door with the state of Illinois. And we have a very special guest with us today, Miss Danette Williams. And she is going to talk a little bit about her career at Revenue and what it's like to work in audit, and hopefully answer some questions that you have. So get ready for her. She's coming. This is a little bit about the position. So she's going to get into much more detail, but here's some basics. So basically, you're going to be reviewing taxpayers' books and records to ensure tax obligations are met, and that's pretty generic. There's a lot more to it than that. The salary range for this position is, you'll see, starts between $49,320 and $69,132. They are union jobs. So they have what we call semi-automatic promotions. So when you finish up a training segment, you get a pay increase. The position does require a bachelor's degree. And let's talk briefly about interviews with the state of Illinois. So if you are, with this particular position for the RATs, we are not doing interviews. In the future, if you apply for a position that does, there's a couple of things. It would be on a WebEx, just like we're doing today. There's usually a 3-panel member. Someone will explain the process, kind of moderate or proctor the interview. And then there'll be 2 people taking notes while you would answer your questions. The key on the interview is to assume that we know absolutely nothing about you. If you get an interview and you think, well, they've read my resume, so I don't really need to mention that, please don't make that assumption, because our rule is if you don't tell us verbally, we can't record it. And if we can't record it, you don't get credit for it. So you want to make sure that you cover all your bases in your interview questions. And note-taking during the interview is not allowed, so we can't have you do that. Now, last but not least is why Revenue. I think it's an amazing agency. I think all my teammates on here with me would agree. We have a very strong diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility committee. Myself and Danette are on that committee, and I think we do some pretty fabulous work on there. We have some great locations across the state and beautiful offices in which to work. In Springfield, we have on-site daycare, which Millie, who's on here with us, utilizes with her daughter Emerson. So it's great to be able to take your lunch and run down and see your child. We do a lot of public education seminars for our taxpayers. We are tax experts, and we go out into the communities and work with those communities and help people with their tax questions. So that's one of the things that we offer from Revenue. And we have a very busy, what we call REC Club, Revenue Employee Club, where we do activities throughout the locations, and a very interactive IDOR, which is our internal intranet. And there's a lot of information, a wealth of information out there for our employees to go to and research. So with that in mind, I'm going to skip this video, and I'm going to end this slideshow and stop my sharing. And then I don't know, Danette, can you come off of mute? Or do I need to bear with us here a minute? Hold on a second. I need to unmute you. That co-host, and I think. Can you give me a mic check there? No, hold on a second. I think there's double mute, and okay, how about now? No. Okay, where am I? Why am I not picking up? I hit. No, I got it off of here. I'm not quite sure why. Brent, can you hear her at all? No, I can't hear. And let me see. Hold on. She might gonna go out and jump back on. So bear with us for a minute. Any questions, Millie or Brent, that are, yeah, maybe her mic. And now we're going to get some feedback. Okay, I unmuted you. Let's see. No, it might be your mic, Danette. Oh. Try again. Okay, did you unmute? Try unmute on yourself. So if you go at the top. Oh, wait a minute.
Can you hear me?
Ah, yay! Got it. Technology, gotta love it. Okay, thank you all for being patient. So we're going to turn things over to Danette, and she's going to share a little bit about her career at Revenue and talk about all things audit. So take it away, Danette.
Thank you, Julie, and welcome to everybody that is on the panel, to the webinar today. So as Julie has already stated, my name is Danette Williams, and I am a revenue auditor in sales tax. And I've been with the department for about 10 and a half years. And as she also stated, I am a member of the DEIA committee, and I have been on that committee for about 3 years. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of my background. I do have a bachelor's in accounting. I also have an MBA. Prior to coming to the Department of Revenue, I spent 15 years in banking. Majority of that time was in consumer loans, and then like the last 2 years I was a commercial loan analyst. So I'm sure everyone can remember 10, 11 years ago when the banking industry was so volatile, with banks being bought out by other banks, and that ultimately happened to me. And I just made a decision that maybe I need to get out of the banking industry and find something a little more stable. I was concerned about like retirement. I'm getting older, and the state of Illinois just kind of clicked all of those boxes for me: stability, pension. So I applied for the Department of Revenue. So I do want to highlight some things that I don't have experience in. So I do not have a CPA. I had never done auditing prior to coming to the Department of Revenue. I've never done accounts payable, accounts receivable. Besides classwork, I have never done any accounting work. So I'm just stating that to say that you don't need a CPA, you don't need to have previous auditing experience to be a revenue auditor trainee. They are going to train you how to conduct these audits. So what are sales tax auditors responsible for? So the titles that are coming up, as Julie mentioned, are revenue tax auditor trainees, which could be sales tax and they could be income tax as well. So, of course, I'm sales tax, and you should know that we do not do any type of auditing for individual. They're solely based on businesses. And we are, as sales tax auditors, we are responsible for making sure that the tax that's collected from customers make its way to the state of Illinois, right? So when you're out, you're shopping, you're at Macy's, you're at the grocery store, they charge you sales tax. We need to make sure that that tax is making it to the state of Illinois. We also check to make sure that the tax rates that businesses are charging are correct. And again, we make sure everything that they're collecting makes it to the state of Illinois. We also, as revenue auditors, make sure that taxpayers are paying, businesses are paying tax on purchases. So that's kind of the part of the audit that most people are not familiar with, but it's called use tax. And as sales tax auditors, we are responsible for reviewing those books and records for use tax as well. So just to kind of give you an idea of what you would expect as a revenue auditor trainee, it is classroom training, and I think someone already mentioned that it is 12 months of training in a classroom-like setting, right? You'll receive a manual, both a physical manual and a PDF. And then this manual is going to be broken out into chapters. Now, your instructors are going to be revenue auditor threes like myself that have actual experience in doing the work, and they may be subject experts on the topics that they're teaching on. So there is really no dedicated teaching team. It's just regular auditors that are actually doing the work that volunteer to teach these classes. So I think that's pretty important that you would have an instructor that has a firsthand knowledge of what they're teaching, so you can get honest answers when you ask questions. You're going to go over tax laws, regulations. You're going to have a mock audit while you're in training, and that's going to be toward the end of the training. And that's going to cover the audit process from the beginning to the end. So they're going to show you how to do an opening conference. They're going to show you what type of documentation that you should be looking for when you request documents. They're going to show you how to process these audits. So you're going to learn everything from beginning to the end of the audits. Now, as trainees, the department thinks it's a little easier for trainees to focus on use tax. So that would be your main focus in training. And once you come out of training, your first couple of audits that are going to be assigned to you is going to be strictly for use tax. One thing that is so important to remember is that you're not expected to retain all of the information that you're going to get in training, right? Training is a year. They're going to give you regulations. You're not expected to memorize regulations. Auditing is a learn as you go type of job. So the more you audit, the more you learn, the more you're retaining, but you're not expected to know everything and retain everything once you come out of training. One, because when you're in training, the conditions are perfect, right? You have a cooperative taxpayer, you're getting everything that you're asking for. In the real world, it's not quite that way. So once you come out of training, you will be assigned a mentor. Everyone has a mentor, and the way that they did it the last class is that each trainee was able to sit with everyone, every auditor on their team. So you didn't have just one go-to person. You had your entire team that you can reach out to. And of course, you can always reach out to your supervisor if you need any help, but your mentor or your team is going to work with you and work through those first couple of audits that you will be assigned once you are certified. So after you complete the 12 months of training, I think it's like 12 or 14 months, you'll be certified. And your first couple of weeks, you're going to just work with another auditor. You're not going to have audits of your own. Once you are assigned audits of your own, you will work with your supervisor, you will work with your team members. We're not just going to leave you out there to try to figure it out by yourself. And again, you learn more as you do more auditing. And I'll give you an example. I've been with this department 10 years. There's still industries that I have never audited. Dealerships, I've never audited a dealership. So if I received an assignment to do that, I'm calling auditors to try to get some assistance. And I'm going to get that assistance from my peers, right? Auditors that have already done those are more than welcome to help me. I'm going to research the regulation. I'm going to go to archive training. So there's resources out here to help you through your audit, but your main go-to is going to be your supervisor and your team. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, what you would expect as a trainee. And right after training, you would stay in, Julie, correct me if I'm wrong, in the revenue auditor one position for 2 years. I think you stay in the revenue auditor 2 position for 2 years. And then after that, you're a revenue auditor 3. And the audits just get progressively a little more difficult as you become a 1 and a 2. But again, you always have resources to fall back on if you need assistance. The one distinctive difference between an auditor 3 and a 1 and 2 is that you are expected to mentor trainees once they come out of training. I don't know, did I cover everything?
You covered a lot. That was great. Thank you, Danette. A couple of general questions that have come through. The training that our titles are trainee, revenue auditor trainee, but these are full-time state jobs with full benefits. You're a union, in the union. You get step increases, you get semi-automatic promotions. It's not a non-paid position. You are fully paid. Starting salary is around 50,000, depending on your experience and your education. So a little bit could be a little bit higher there. So these are full-time jobs with salary. We do have the postings on Monday. They will be for Springfield, Des Plaines office, and Marion or St. Clair. Marion, yes.
Claire, hi.
Yes, so we'll have a couple down in the Southern Illinois area. These positions do require bachelor's degrees in certain areas. So if you only have your associates right now, that is terrific. I encourage you to keep going. You would not be eligible to apply for this position that will be posting on Monday. However, we have lots of other jobs that will be coming that you could be qualified for. So please, please, please check back. So, let's see here. Yeah, some of these will be in the Des Plaines office. We will not have any of these in the downtown Chicago location for this particular title. But again, check back in our job board and look for other positions that we do have open. So we don't have any computer professional positions open. You would need to go to Do It. I think Millie put that link in the chat for you. It's the Department of Innovation and Technology, another state agency. So,
Can I jump in real quick, Julie?
yeah.
So you mentioned that you do need a bachelor's degree for this position. However, you do need a specific amount of accounting for this. So I don't know if that was mentioned or if it's in the chat or anything, but I don't know what the requirements are offhand, but you do need a specific amount of actual accounting. It's basically 101, maybe equivalent to 101, 102, and then some other business classes, but don't quote me because it's been a long time since I've looked at that, but it's not a position that just requires a bachelor's degree. You do need to have some type of groundwork accounting.
Yep. And Millie or Brent, anything else that you can think of? Now, Millie does all of our hiring. Brent and Millie are on the interview and selection team. So they do all the hiring. Unlike me, I'm siloed over on the recruiting side. So anything that either of you could think of to add about the position?
I see that the biggest question we keep getting in the chat are the requirements, and to kind of piggyback off of what Danette said, You do have to have a bachelor's degree, and in order to qualify for the revenue auditor trainee position, it does have to be in a specific field. So it has to be in either accounting, business administration, public administration, business management, business education, economics, mathematics, statistics, or finance. And then you also have to have 15 semester hours of progressive coursework in accounting. So that would be like your accounting 101 and 102, or financial accounting and managerial accounting, and then going into intermediate accounting 1 and 2. And then you could have other types of accounting, like a class in tax or a class in auditing, different things like that. But those are the minimum requirements for this specific title.
And talk about the training. There's a lot about training.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions about the training period. So as a trainee, it is a full 12 months. The training, the way that the Audit Bureau has done it is they do have you come to Springfield for the training. Now, the Audit Bureau will set up all travel arrangements. So if you are coming from Chicago, they would set you up in a hotel room. You would be in the office Monday through Friday for the week, and then you go home on the weekend. In the past, they've typically had you in Springfield for about 3 weeks at a time. Then you'd go back to your regional offices, so either Des Plaines or Fairview Heights, and then that's when you'd have that coach that would work with you in the field or at the office, and then usually a couple of months later, you'd come back to Springfield for about another 3-week period for more classroom training. If you're coming from Fairview Heights, I'm not positive about hotel rooms. I don't know if Jeanette would know that. I don't know if they have Fairview Heights in a hotel office or a hotel room, or if they have you commute every day. But that's something we could find more information out if anyone's thinking of applying for that Fairview Heights, St. Clair County location. But you are, as Julie mentioned before, you are considered an employee as a trainee. You still qualify for all of the benefits. If you meet all of your objectives during that 12-month trainee period, then you would be promoted into the Revenue Auditor 1 position.
Thank you, Millie. Yeah, just to reiterate, yet you are paid. These are, the title is trainee, revenue auditor trainee. They are full-time jobs. You are 100% paid. If you have a bachelor's degree in one of those 9 or 10 areas that Millie mentioned and the accounting coursework, there is no interview for this position. You would get an offer letter or a call from Millie once you applied. Yes, we do have a lot of other positions at Revenue. This particular month's call is focusing on audit because those positions are going to post Monday, the 22nd of April, hopefully, or very soon after that. So that's why our focus for this month in April is on audit. Next month, we could have other positions in a different area that only require an associate's degree. It just kind of depends on what the needs are of our program areas. I encourage you to go out and look at the jobs that we have posted and sign up for job alerts so you don't miss anything. Let's see, questions in here, any general, I'm trying to watch those, and no, we don't have any IT positions. We do not hire IT people at all. We have IT people that help us, but all of those employees come from the Department of Innovation and Technology, or as we call it, DOIT, D-O-I-T. So you would have to go onto their webpage, and they have numerous openings right now. So go check out the jobs on the DOIT site. But we don't have any IT people here that we hire.
And I'm seeing some other questions about the locations we're hiring for. This round, for the start date of July 8th, we're going to be hiring for our Des Plaines office, Springfield, and Fairview Heights. And then someone else asked about hiring Revenue Auditor 1s and 2s. In order to be qualified for a Revenue Auditor 1 or Revenue Auditor 2, you have to have completed the trainee program. If you've not completed the Revenue Auditor trainee program, you will not qualify for those positions. So you have to start out as a trainee.
Thank you, Millie. Danette, was there anything that you wanted to focus on your DEIA involvement? I want to give a plug to Danette. She has been my lifesaver. With Johnny's departure up in Chicago, I can't travel back and forth to all the events. So when we have job fairs and different types of community events going on for recruiting, Danette has graciously helped out our team and gone to events for us as one of our DEIA members. So is there anything that you would add, Danette?
Well, you know, DEIA, we're working hard to make the department, more diverse, more equitable. Um, I will mention one of the recent changes in audit that I think came out of a climate. I think maybe the climate survey is our employee committee, and I'm not really sure that's how the email. I'm not really sure if that's the name of it, but it consists of employees and supervisors that act as a liaison between senior management, right? So they can you can use them to pitch ideas, policy, procedure changes, and it's twofold. So when senior management thinking about policy changes, they run it through this committee to see how it really will impact an auditor's day, right? It's easy to put a policy change or procedure on paper, but if you don't actually do the work, you don't know how it's really going to impact your day. So that's a committee that is a newly formed committee in audits. And then the Cheers for Peers, everything that DIA has, we've created a Cheers for Peers program, our DEIA cookbook. We solicit recipes from employees and encourage employees to try these recipes so we can get to learn about other cultures and traditions through food. Yeah, and we're creating the rec club. I think you already talked about that a little bit, Julie. We didn't have a rec club here in up north in Chicago, but we are in the works of that. So that's just an opportunity for employees to fellowship outside of work. So we are working hard to, like I said, make the department more equitable. We're always looking for suggestions from employees to tell us what they want to see more of, what they want to see less of. And then the recruitment and retention, Julie, you can add if you want on those efforts.
Yeah, we are have a very active committee. We're exploring a couple of different areas. We're looking at a networking event to host in the Springfield community. And we are also looking at a shadowing program to offer agency-wide to help our employees with career exploration in other areas. So I would say that of all of the different subcommittees under our DEIA umbrella, we have probably one of the busiest committees that we are always either actively working on recruiting efforts or retention efforts. So looks like there's some questions still coming through. No IT jobs again. Yes, the jobs we're talking about today, these particular jobs today on this call do require a bachelor's degree in accounting coursework. Not all of our positions at Revenue do. So I would make sure that you check our job board for other positions that we will be posting in the very near future. So let's see, what else? Anything else that you guys can think of, Millie or Brent, to add that we've left off?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. And does it seem like questions are slowing down a little bit?
There
A
is
little bit, yeah.
about how many audits would someone be responsible for. So in the beginning, you're only going to be assigned about 3 audits. Until you complete those and turn those in, your audit inventory is going to be very low. As you become more experienced, more seasoned, the minimum amount of audits that you are actively working on in your inventory is 13. So you can have anywhere, you can't have a minimum, less than a minimum of 13 audits in your inventory. You can have more if you can handle that, but you'll have at least 13.
Thank you, Danette. Question from PS to everyone. What is your travel range within Illinois for audit? I'm guessing that means you might live out of state and you're going to be traveling into Illinois. If that's the case, you have to be able to come to training.
You know what? Let me see if okay. So maybe they're meaning how far do you have to travel out to audit? And so back when I was a trainee pre-COVID, we were everywhere, but your audits were mostly assigned. They did try to keep it within where you lived, right? But that doesn't always work out because you are assigned an audit based on the address of that business. But if you end up working with the accountant or an attorney that, you know, you live in Chicago, the business is in Chicago, and then the attorney is in Downers Grove. So then you're going to Downers Grove. But now, because the department has moved toward a more paperless audit trail, everything is mostly electronic. We're really not in the field like we used to be. If a taxpayer is able to send you documentation electronically, then you're completing that audit either in the office or after you become certified. I do believe that there is some flexibility on working from home and in the office. So either you'll work on that audit from home or in the office. The days of us spending weeks at a taxpayer's location or weeks in a accountant's office, those are kind of over. One, they don't want us in there, right? Because of COVID, and they downsized the office, and a lot of accountants are not in the office every day themselves. But once they send you all of their documentation electronically, they're just like, why are you here? So the travel range, they do try to keep in consideration where you live when they assign you audits, if that was the question. But, you know, that's not always, it doesn't always work out that way depending on who you're going to conduct the audit with. So I hope that answers the question.
A lot of questions about traveling to Springfield for the trainee period. Yeah. So you would need to come to Springfield for the training sessions. And as Millie said, you would stay in a hotel and you would come in for a chunk of time, go through the training, then you go back to your area and work with your mentor and get on the job training. So the positions do post Monday, the 22nd of April. So watch for those to come through. I would encourage you to sign up for job alerts. We will go back and review the chats and see if there are any topics for the future months. Again, these are recorded calls. Once we are done, we put them on our webpage. So you might want to go check out our webpage at tax.illinois.gov under the Employment Opportunities section. And there's a list of all the other recorded calls that we've done. So you can get other information from those pre-recorded calls. The start date for these is July the 3rd, first week in July. So, and I can't remember, are there 2 start dates for this class, or just the one?
That's the one.
Okay. So the key is you have to apply when that job is posted. So if it posts on Monday the 22nd, it will be up for 10 days. If you think, well, I'll wait till the end of June to apply for the job and then start July 3rd. We have a longer application process than most other businesses. So you have to apply when the job is live. Once the job posting comes down, you cannot apply for it. So you want to make sure that you do that within the next 10 days. And then you would hear if you were, you would get an offer if you met the minimum qualifications for the job. So Millie would be reaching out to you about that. And then you would start in July. So it takes us a little bit of time. There's a lot of back and forth between us and another one of our state agencies to get all of the ducks in a row. So it does take a little bit of time, but if you do meet the minimum qualifications, you will be contacted. So anything in questions?
Asking about her slideshow. Is she gonna?
Are you going to share your slideshow, Julie?
I can attach it to, I'm trying to think if I can attach it to the website. I'll have to check with Terry's team and see if I can attach that to the recording. And if not, then we'll try and attach it to the follow-up email that we do send out. So, July, start date is July 8th. Is it the 8th?
Yes, the
Yeah.
auditors will be July 8th.
Okay. Yep. Perfect. Perfect. So, and someone in there earlier said that there weren't any jobs posted right now. There are only 2 jobs available right now, an administrative assistant in our legal area in Chicago, and then like a facilities manager type of position in Chicago as well. Again, these positions will post on Monday, and we will also have other trainee titles that will be posting later in the probably late summer, maybe-ish, summer, midsummer, for a fall hire. So please check back on the job board, and then also tune in for these monthly calls that we do. They're always out on social media that you can check back in and listen to one of the upcoming calls. So I want to thank my partners in crime, Miss Danette Williams, for being our guest speaker this month and for all of her help with our recruiting efforts up in Chicago and being a valuable DEIA member. So thank you, thank you. And to Millie and Brent for helping with the questions. So if there are no other questions, we will not keep you. Thank you all for joining this afternoon. We appreciate your time and hope you have an amazing day. Bye, everyone.